Hello, Betty.
Mrs. Cord.
May I come in?
Yes, of course. Excuse me, I have to finish packing these.
I understand. I won't be long.
Will you be leaving Peyton Place?
Yes, in just a few hours. How is Stephen?
As well as can be expected, I suppose.
Does he despise me?
I think he's just terribly hurt and bitter.
No, I don't suppose it would be in his nature to realize that the pain he feels now is nothing. Well, nothing compared with the pain he would have felt if he'd found out the truth when he was just a child, or he'd had a chance to gain the reserve of strength it takes to tide him through it, and before he had you. Betty, you do understand my decision to keep the truth from Stephen, don't you?
Why, because I'm a woman? Oh, no, really, Mrs.
No, not because you're a woman, Betty, because you're a certain kind of woman. Not unlike the kind of woman I am.
Mrs. Cord, all I care about is that I'm able to make Stephen happy. Everything else is secondary.
Yes, I'm sure. Betty, it's possible that you don't realize it, but ambition is the cement of your marriage, Stephen. Just as it was in your marriage to Rodney, and just as it's been the cement in my relationships with the men I've known. I suppose what I'm trying to tell you is that when that cement starts to crumble, well, everything goes. There's nothing left.
That might have been true for you, Mrs. Cord, but our marriage is very different from what you had with Mr. Peyton.
Granted. Maybe what I'm suggesting is that you do a little soul searching, Betty, to discover whether or not you'll be able to stay with Stephen, no matter what happens to him.
What are you getting at? Of course I'll stay with him.
Even when you discover that he's married to an obsession, much more permanently than he's married to you.
You mean his revenge against Mr. Peyton?
I mean his need to win Mr. Peyton's approval.
Win his approval? Stephen hates him.
Yes, he hates him and he loves him. Oh, Betty, our emotions play very strange paradoxes on us sometimes. Even when he is trying to destroy Martin Peyton, he's really doing it to try to win his respect. That's the terrible irony.
That's incredible after what Stephen knows.
Betty, Stephen has been dominated by Martin Peyton from the moment he was born. He's modeled himself after him, worshipped him, let himself believe Martin Peyton was his father. And now that he knows the truth, he isn't freed from it. He's bound more closely than ever. What I want to know, Betty, is will you be able to live with us? Will you be willing to try to help him?
How can I help him beyond loving him?
By refusing to let him use your ambition to justify his own.
Oh, you've tricked me again, Mrs. Cord. You're still trying to drive a wedge between Stephen and me, between his goals and my goals.
I'm not tricking you.
But you're telling me to undermine Stephen, to treat him as if what he wants is irrational, to prescribe for him as if he was sick.
But he is sick.
He is not sick.
He is sick. It's a sickness brought on by people making too many demands of him without giving him any love in return. Betty, help him. Show him that you love him unconditionally. Prove to him that he doesn't have to prove anything to you as he did to Mr. Peyton. That it doesn't matter to you what he becomes in the eyes of the world. Betty, on the day that Stephen can treat Martin Peyton as any other human being, neither loving nor hating, but with complete indifference, on that day, you'll know you have succeeded. But until that day, you'll never have your husband for yourself.
Mrs. Cord, thank you for coming and talking with me.
Betty, there's almost nothing you can't overcome together. But as long as Martin Peyton lives, you have a vigil to keep. I almost forgot. Here, this is something for the two of you.
What is it?
Well, the house was sold today, and that's the money.
Oh, please keep it. You'll need it now yourself.
I don't want it. I want you to have it. Betty, you're young. You don't know what it's like to come near the end of your life and find that you've given so very little to anybody, so please take it.
I know he won't accept it. just as he felt he couldn't keep this house.
Then you convince him for me, will you?
Mrs. Cord,
Please. I want to help my son. He is my son, even though I'm not his mother.
All right, I'll try.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Mr. Peyton. You need some help?
Is Norman Harrington here?
He was here. You want me to find him for you?
Oh, no, thank you, Miss Hunt. I'll look for him myself.
All right.
Norman.
I'm busy, Grandfather.
Where are you going, Norman?
Somewhere where it's quiet.
I want to talk to you. Would you come home with me?
No, thanks.
Then we can talk here.
There's nothing to say.
I don't haul myself all over town looking for someone if I don't have something to say.
But nobody's listening.
Norman, grow up.
Oh, grow up so I can be like my father, who let an innocent man rot in jail for 18 years? Or grow up so I can be like my grandfather, who let his daughter give her children away? Peter Pan had it made.
Norman, please.
You're the only man in the world that can make that sound like an order.
I came to thank you for going to the cemetery.
I didn't want to go. I just couldn't stop myself.
You loved your mother just as I did. Perhaps more than she deserved.
She loved me. Why didn't you send her to a psychiatrist?
Selfishness is a disease that psychiatrists find it difficult to cure, Norman.
She was more than selfish.
Yes, she was willful, destructive, and immoral.
And what else? Mentally unbalanced?
It makes it easier to accept that way, doesn't it, Norman?
It's possible to accept it that way.
And so that's the way you want it.
That's the way it is.
A splendid rationale, Norman. It makes your mother's crimes, my daughter's crimes, understandable, even excusable. It makes your mother pitiable. But it's nothing more than a rationale. It simply is untrue.
You know it is.
Your mother was not insane. You have to accept that, Norman. Just as I have for a long, long time. She was a morally corrupt woman.
Peddle it somewhere else, Grandfather, because I know she was insane.
Man, you ought to be a little more careful about sneaking up on a guy's back like that. You get the whole geography of your face change real quick.
I was just on my way over to your house to talk to you.
You've been to my house, man, and not to talk to me.
Well, that's what I want to set you straight about.
You don't have to set me straight, man. I got the whole picture.
No, you don't have the whole picture, Lee, but you're going to. I took over a check. I pretended that it was back pay that I owed you. I knew Sandy wouldn't take it otherwise. I also knew she was in pretty bad shape financially.
but in pretty good shape in every other way, right?
It wasn't like that. Allison was gone. I was down. I was way down. Well, so was Sandy. It just happened, that's all. It wasn't anybody's fault.
You save it, bright boy.
You know, I don't get you. I don't get you at all.
You know, I've noticed that about you, bright boy, and you know why you don't get me? Because the hot water always works where you live. And a cockroach, man, that's something you studied in high school.
Oh, please, please, don't give me that poor relation act. You know, you'd do fine if you thought about somebody other than yourself.
You mean my sweet little wife, Sandy, man? I think about her all the time. I think about how she looks before she gets up in the morning, all kinds of funny, soft, and straggly looking. I think about the time she walked out on me, and then I think about the time she didn't, when she should have. And I think about how she always seems to fall for guys that she thinks are gentlemen. And I keep having to tell her over and over again, man, that there's just no such animal. I mean, there are just guys with dirty minds that wear clean shirts, and guys with dirty minds wear dirty shirts. That's all.
No, that's not all. That's you.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Gentleman. You get this through your head. Stay away from her. Stay a mile away from her, because if you don't, you're going to end up like Joe Chernak, only not near as quick. Don't go running to Daddy or Granddaddy with your little tail between your legs, boy. They can't do anything to me. Nobody can do anything to me now. They let me go, man. And I intend to stick around for a long, long time.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
Are you up to it?
I don't know.
Well, then I wouldn't take her into your home.
Michael.
Listen, Connie, it's something you have to want. All of you.
Try to understand. I wish I could put my arms around you and love you for what you try to do, but I can't.
He won't let me give him the one thing that I can give. A family, children. And I don't know what to do.